Is a cup of joe actually beneficial for heart health? Well, coffee isn't exactly associated with heart health. Caffeine can, raise your blood pressure, and people with a common heart condition are typically warned to avoid it altogether. But a new study is flipping that guidance on its head. It shows that actually drinking caffeinated coffee is safe for people with atrial fibrillation, AFib, a common heart disorder that causes heart palpitations and can lead to blood clots and even stroke. In fact, this study shows coffee may actually prevent these patients from having an AFib episode. Let's bring in Dr. Gregory Marcus, a cardiologist and specialist in the treatment of arrhythmias at UCSF, University of California, San Francisco. He's also the senior author of the study published in the Journal of American Medical Association. Dr. Marcus, thank you so much for being with us. I think I can speak on behalf of all coffee lovers who are thrilled to hear that something that we love is also good for us. But this one was surprising because people who suffer from various heart conditions are typically told to stay away from caffeine and coffee, right? What made you want to do this study?
Yeah, so we tend to think of caffeine as something that ramps up the heart, and so at least intuitively would seem to promote abnormal heart rhythms. But observational studies, meaning studies that are prone to confounding, so not experimental studies, have suggested that those who consume caffeinated coffee may actually experience a lower risk of this very common rhythm called atrial fibrillation. The only way to more confidently infer causality is to do a randomized trial, to randomly assign people to, in this case, caffeinated coffee versus to avoid it over time. That's really the only way to address that confounding that we otherwise worry about.
So what is it about caffeinated coffee that helps people with AFib?
So we aren't certain precisely what the mechanism is, and it's important to emphasize that in this study, we can't disentangle effects specific to caffeine versus to coffee itself, but there are actually several potential mechanisms that might explain this apparent protective effect. Number one, atrial fibrillation very often occurs with more vagal tone, so the anti-adrenaline side of the nervous system being turned up. So perhaps having a little bit more of that adrenaline on board helps suppress the atrial fibrillation. Alternatively, coffee is actually anti-inflammatory. Inflammation can lead to atrial fibrillation. And in animal studies, caffeine changes the electrical properties specifically of the left upper chamber. That's where it's thought atrial fibrillation arises in a way that would be expected to prevent atrial fibrillation.
And in the study, did you look into whether or not the coffee has to be served black, or could you add a little bit of sugar and a little bit of cream and still get the benefits?
Yeah, so we dealt with a common trade-off in conducting clinical research in real human beings, which is that between feasibility and perfection. And so we allowed people to consume coffee as they normally would. The specific instruction was at least 1 cup per day. The great majority consumed about that much. There was quite a bit of variability as to whether people use creamers or sweeteners. The study probably wasn't powered to tease out any specific differences there, but we know again that the group randomly assigned to consume the caffeinated coffee as opposed to avoiding all coffee and caffeine is the one that experienced less atrial fibrillation.
Oh, it's great news. You can hopefully enjoy your cup of joe in the morning a little bit more guilt-free. Dr. Gregory Marcus, thank you so much.
Thank you.